Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Welcome back to our midweek program, and we welcome you to part 3 of our series on the 12 Mahajans. Firstly, I'd like to begin by thanking everyone for joining us once again, and also to our previous speakers on this series. Today, we are very honored to have His Grace Shyam Bihari Prabhu, a very long-standing devotee here in our community in ISKCON of Atlanta, who has rendered invaluable service across the years, who's going to be addressing us on Lord Shiva, the third of the 12 Mahajans. Without any further ado, let's begin today's program. Shyam Bihari Prabhu, over to you as soon as you're ready. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, my most humble obeisances to all the gathered Vaishnavas. I beg at your lotus feet that I may be able to speak a few words on this most important subject matter. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Caitanya Manobishtam Snapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padkamalan Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunathan Vitam Stam Sajivam Sakvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakha Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vachaka Patarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktavrinda Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Radhanath Swami Niti Namine Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharane Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschata Dishatarine. Hare Krishna. So I've been told to speak on Lord Shiva, who is the third Mahajan in a series of Mahajans that are being discussed through the ISKCON Atlanta leaders and the congregation. Lord Shiva is probably the most complex Mahajan to talk about, the least understood and the most complex Mahajan. There are so many questions that arise as to, is he Bhagavan? Is he a demigod? Is he Bhutnath, the lord of the ghosts and spirits and all those things? So what exactly is Lord Shiva? When we talk about it to others who are not in ISKCON, they kind of think that we have no idea about Lord Shiva, we are confused. But all these contradictions about Lord Shiva are actually result in ISKCON itself. ISKCON is like that fountain of knowledge in a desert of ignorance in this Kali Yuga. In this ISKCON, all contradictions get resolved by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada. And so this very complex subject matter about Lord Shiva is, as I said, it's already very complex, but amongst all the speakers on these Mahajanas, I'm probably the least qualified to be able to talk about any Mahajana. What about to talk about the most complex, which is Lord Shiva. So I beg at the lotus feet of Lord Shiva that he may speak through me, put words that make sense and reveal himself to us in this short span of time as much as possible. So we beg for mercy of Lord Shiva, who's the greatest of all Vaishnavas, that he may have mercy on all of us and reveal himself to us through some of the words that may come through my tongue, my mouth. I will start off first by, obviously, the greatest source of knowledge for us is the Brahma Samhita. In the Brahma Samhita, Lord Brahma actually gives us insight into the spiritual world, insight into the Supreme Personality of Godhead, insight into all the variegated energies of the Lord, and of course, on Lord Shiva too. And so, taking shelter of the Brahma Samhita, I would like to start off by quoting this wonderful verse that is there. Shiram yatha dadi vikara vishesha yoga sanjayate nahi tatha prithak asti hetoho yasambhutam api tatha samupaiti karya govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami. So what does this mean? This means that just as milk is transformed into curd by the action of acids, so when you want to actually make milk into curd, you have to add some bacteria to it, right? And then it becomes into curd. So in the same way, but yet the effect curd is neither same as nor different from its cause, which is milk. So although there's been a change of state from milk to curd, but it's still milk in a different form, right? The source is still milk, but there's a transformation that happens. And then it is said, so I adore the primeval Lord Govinda, of whom the state of Shambhu is a transformation for the performance of the work of destruction. So if the Lord is Lord, when I say Lord, I mean Lord Krishna. If Lord Krishna is milk, then Lord Shiva is that transformation into curd. So that means that there is a lot of similarity between Lord Shiva and Lord Krishna because they both are milk and milk product, except that there's a transformation. Now, when you transform milk into curd, then you cannot perform the functions that milk provides. Like you can't make sweets and all that, which you need milk for, right? So there's a transformation that happens, and that transformation is like more permanent, So the curd is separate and the milk is separate, but really most of the qualities are still the same. Not all, of course, because it's transformation, but the qualities are still the same. And so that's why Brahma is describing this in such a beautiful way, that this transformation of milk into yogurt, right, is similar to the transformation that Krishna goes through in order for Shiva to come into play, right? And so Prabhupada describes this very beautifully. I'm going to read what he says. It's a very beautiful purport that he gives. Just as yogurt is a transformation of milk and therefore cannot be considered as anything but milk, but can also no longer function as milk for making ghee or other milk products due to being transformed, similarly, Lord Shiva is certainly not an ordinary jiva. Please make a note, Shiva is not an ordinary jiva, but is also not the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So it's not milk anymore. Milk has been transformed into yogurt. Now yogurt is great. Everyone loves yogurt, but still it is not the pure milk because there's been a transformation. Okay, so that's how Prabhupada is explaining it. It has also been mentioned in the Shastras that a perfected living entity can develop up to 50 transcendental qualities. A living entity can go up to 50 living transcendental qualities. But the Lord has 64 qualities, as we all know, right? Shiva is different. He has 55 qualities, which no other jiva has, right? But Lord Shiva is the only one who actually possesses 55 qualities. Such is the inconceivable position of Lord Shiva. So what we're establishing right at the outset, before we get into more details, is that Lord Shiva is not like you and me. He's not another Jiva. He is not Bhagwan. And what is he will be the rest of this session. We want to establish who's Lord Shiva, what is Lord Shiva, and how important a role does he play in all of existence, whether it be in Vaishnavism, whether it be in the spiritual world, whether it be in the cosmic manifestation. But that's the implicit position of Lord Shiva, a very, very important position. And when we understand this, then we will develop love and respect for Lord Shiva. We will understand who this great personality is, why he's a Mahajan. So we will delve deeper into this, right? So Lord Shiva possesses 55 qualities, unlike any other jivas. Then, now when we talk about Lord Shiva, we have to understand that Lord Shiva is actually appearing in many different ways. One, in the spiritual world, Lord Shiva is different from the Lord Shiva that is in the material world. This is a very important aspect that one has to understand, because we tend to commit an offense if we do not understand who Lord Shiva is in the spiritual world and who is he in the material world. Only when we do understand this, then we will be able to distinguish between the Shiva in the material world and the Shiva in the spiritual world. Now, Shiva has got many names, just like Krishna has many names. Shiva also has many names. The name Shiva itself means all auspicious. All auspicious, just like Krishna means all attractive, Shiva means all auspicious. The name Shiva itself means all auspicious. And then Shiva takes on different names like Shankar. Many refer to him as Shankara, right? Shankara means one who is the support of all this creation. He takes on different names based on the different leelas. He's Neelakantha because of his neck being, his throat being Neel. We'll talk about that. Or is also sometimes also called Kalakantha, Neelakantha or Kalakantha. That's another name he takes up. He has another name which is called Ashutosh because he is very easily pleased. Lord Shiva is very easily pleased. And when Lord Shiva is pleased, then he is willing to do anything and give anything, even at his own cost. Many a times he puts himself into such a crucial position by giving benedictions that he himself has to seek shelter of the Lord, right? But that is the greatness of Lord Shiva. It's not a shortcoming, it's the greatness of Lord Shiva that he is so compassionate and so easily pleased. And that is why we refer to him, he's referred to as Ashutosh. And so forth. So many wonderful names Lord Shiva has, so many beautiful names. And so as we go along and we discuss his beautiful pastimes, you will see we'll refer to him in various different ways, right? Now, one thing we need to understand is that Lord Shiva, when he appears in the spiritual world, he is a Guna avatar of Lord Vishnu himself. He is a Guna avatar of Lord Vishnu. That means he is an expansion in the spiritual world. And the spiritual world, he is known as Sadashiva. And in the spiritual world, Sadashiva has his own planet. He has his own planet. It is described that this planet is just beyond the 7 layers of the earth, and it is actually in the lowest realm of the Vaikuntha Dham. In fact, our acharyas say that it is part of the spiritual world, and we will prove that as well. So it said that it is part of the spiritual world, although it's the lowest planet in the spiritual world, but it is the part of the spiritual world. And sometimes it is also called as Mahesh Dham. Some of you may have heard of it as Mahesh Dham. That is where Lord Shiva resides with his consort. And his consort is Mahamaya, or Mahamaya as she's called, and she's an expansion of Lakshmi Devi. She's an expansion of Lakshmi Devi. Just as Shiva is an expansion of Lord Vishnu, Mahamaya is the expansion of Lakshmi Devi. And they both reside there. And then when the cosmic manifestation happens by the mercy of the Lord, as we know, the Lord casts a glance on the Mahatattva, right? The glance is what agitates the cosmic manifestation and creation starts. It is said that that glance of the Lord actually manifests as Lord Shambhu. That glance manifests as Lord Shambhu. And so it is this Lord Shambhu that is actually the causing this whole cosmic manifestation. And then when it is time for annihilation, Sankarshana, who is at the bottommost of the universe, the entire universe is resting on Lord Sankarshana. And so when it's time for annihilation, when Lord Sankarshana actually emits fire from his mouth in order to annihilate this world, that fire takes on the form of Rudra. We've heard of Shiva's Tandav Nitya, which causes the entire annihilation. It is this Rudra, which the form which manifests from that fire, that is responsible for the entire destruction. So that Sadashiva, which is in this spiritual world, is actually an expansion of Lord Vishnu. And from him comes the Shiva and the 11 Rudras that are in the cosmic manifestation in each universe. So those are expansions again. Those are actually expansions, and they are responsible for the destruction. It is not Sadashiva. Sadashiva was never involved in any aspect of this cosmic manifestation, but his expansions are, right? So we're establishing that there's two different Shivas. One is eternal, which is Sadashiva in the spiritual world. And the other Shiva, which manifests in each universe in the cosmic manifestation, right? That is an expansion. It is different. And that Shiva, which is in this cosmic manifestation, he is not eternal. And so when this whole manifestation is wrapped up by the Lord, this Shiva is also, he is also, I shouldn't say destroyed, because Shiva is never destroyed, but he actually is merging back into that Sadashiva, or going back into that Sadashiva, and that second form of Sadashiva is extinct now. So that second form in the material world is not eternal, but the Shiva who's in the spiritual world is eternal. And so also the Rudras that come, they're also not eternal. They're only during this cosmic manifestation. So we need to keep that in mind. Now, this Lord Shiva, who is in this spiritual world, is considered as non-different from Krishna or Narayana. He is considered as non-different. Those of you who know the story of Gopakumar, which was beautifully described in the Bhagavatamrita by Srila Sanatana Goswami, Gopakumar, that whole thing shows our journey through this material world and into the spiritual world. And in order to access the spiritual world, he had to go through Shivaloka in Sadashivaloka. And there he sees Sadashiva on Nandi, who's the bull, riding on the bull, and he gets to spend some time there also. And so the journey through the spiritual world actually goes through this Sadashivaloka too. So you can understand how important this Sadashiva and Shivaloka is in the spiritual world, that every Jivatma who goes to the Vaikuntha planet goes through there. And it is said that those who are truly sincere devotees of Lord Shiva, they find abode in Sadashivaloka. And now, does that mean that is their eternal destination, that is their final destination? Maybe, may not be. Why do I say that? It's because our acharyas describe that Lord Shiva, his goal is to bring all of us into the service of Lord Krishna. He actually inspires Vaishnavas. He is Vaishvana Yatha Shambhu. So he's the greatest of all Vaishnavas. Vaishnavanam Yatha Shambhu. He's the greatest of all Vaishnavas. And so he actually aids Vaishnavas in their quest for bhakti, in their quest for service unto the lotus feet of the Lord. And so when devotees of Lord Shiva are sincere, he finds a way to channel their bhakti to the Supreme Lord, to channel the bhakti to Lord Vishnu, to channel the bhakti to Lord Krishna. And so it is described that when these devotees of Lord Shiva actually come to Shiva Loka, they actually meditate on the form of Lord Vishnu, just like Lord Shiva does. And when they do that, that is bhakti to the Lord. And so they are elevated from Shiva Loka to the Vaikuntha planets. This is the greatness of Shiva, is that he is constantly engaged in the service of Lord Vishnu. Constantly engaged in the service of Lord Vishnu. And it is said that he is very dear to Krishna. Very dear to Krishna. Just to give you a simple example, one time in Vrindavan, Lord Shiva wanted to enter into Krishna's Rasa Leela. And so Vrinda Devi, who resides in Vrindavan, she helped him. She helped him to become a gopi, because you cannot participate in a rasa dance with Krishna in the male form. You have to be in a gopi form. And so she helped him to get into that gopi form. So when he goes there, all the gopis, they welcome him. And then they start questioning him because he's new. They don't know him, right? So they start questioning him. And they ask him, where is he from? What is his parentage? And all kinds of questions. And he is confused. He doesn't know what to say because Vrinda Devi didn't coach him on everything. And so they come to know that this person is not really a gopi. And they try to push him out of the rasa dance. And he is very disappointed, very dejected. And Krishna cannot tolerate that. And so Krishna, what he does, he reveals the Lord Shiva form of this gopi. And he tells the gopis that please don't reject him, right? Please let him be the gatekeeper, the keeper of our rasa dance so that nobody can come here. So he makes him a Kshetrapal. You know what's a Kshetrapal? One who guards the dhams. And by Krishna's mercy, every dham is actually guarded by Shiva himself. You can't go to any dham where Shiva is not there. If it's a Krishna or Vishnu dham, Shiva has to be there. He's the Kshetrapal. He's the gatekeeper of every dham. So in Vrindavan also, he's present as Gopeshwara Mahadev. Right? Because he dressed as a gopi, he's called Gopeshwara, Gopeshwara Mahadev. And he's the gatekeeper of Vrindavan dham. In fact, actually, our spiritual masters tell us, when we go to Vrindavan, we should seek blessings of Gopeshwara Mahadev. Because if we take blessings of Shiva, then the dham will get revealed to us. Actually, the dham will get revealed to us by the mercy of Lord Shiva. And if you really want to know his service, he is so integral to our own sampradaya. He is so much attached to our own sampradaya. There was a time when Srila Sanatana Goswami was in Vrindavan. And Srila Sanatana Goswami had his own bhajan kutir where he used to do his sadhana, where he used to do his bhajana, right? But he was very distracted in the sense that in that area, in that place, there were a lot of mosquitoes and a lot of bugs and all that. And so he felt compassionate towards those mosquitoes and bugs. He felt that I am so fallen, I have taken their place. This is their place. By being here, I am their distraction to them. They are not a distraction to me. That's our Goswamis, right? That is their thinking. They are so great. They are sages, right? So he said, I'm going to leave this place. I'm going to leave it to them. I'm going to find some other place where I can perform my sadhana. And Gopeshwara Mahadev, Shiva came to know about this. And he was very disappointed. He was very distressed because he did not want Srila Sanatana Goswami to leave. Whenever Srila Sanatana Goswami used to go on parikrama on Govardhan parikrama, which he used to do every day, Gopeshwara Mahadev would get his darshan. And he did not want to lose that. Such a great Vaishnava, if he goes away, then I will lose his darshan. You can see the humility of Shiva. Shiva is a Mahajan, but see how humble he is to the Vaishnavas. So he comes to Srila Sanatana Goswami in the form of a Brahmana, and he tells, please, can you stay one more day? Please stay one more day, and I'll make sure that there is no distraction and you can perform your sadhana over here comfortably. And these mosquitoes and bugs, they will not bother you. Please give me one day and I will take care of it. So Srila Sanatana Goswami, seeing a Brahmana, he accepted that I'll stay one more day, no problem. And so Lord Shiva immediately goes to the demigod who is in charge of all these mosquitoes and bugs and all that. And he tells him, you better keep your devotees away from Srila Sanatana Goswami. Because if you disturb him, then you have to deal with me, right? So from today, they are not going to go anywhere close to that area, anywhere close to Sri Sanatana Goswami. And so it happens that Sanatana Goswami stayed there and he was not disturbed anymore. This is the compassion of Lord Shiva to the Vaishnavas. So if Lord Shiva can do this for Srila Sanatana Goswami, just think what he can do for us when we take blessings, when we actually go to his lotus feet and ask for his shelter. Our shelter should be, our mood should be, Lord Shiva, we are aspiring devotees of Lord Krishna. We are trying to find service unto the lotus feet of Lord Krishna. You're so merciful. You help Sri Sanatana Goswami to be not distracted by all the disturbances in this material world and be able to practice his sadhana and achieve service unto the lotus feet. If you can be merciful to us too, if you can be compassionate and help us to remove all these distractions that are impediments on this part of bhakti that we want to follow and arrive at pure devotional service unto the divine couple, then it will be a great benediction, to be a great help for us. So we beg you for your mercy. That is the mood in which we should approach Lord Shiva. And so Lord Shiva, when we go to Vrindavan, is always there waiting for us. He's always there waiting for us. It's just us who have to make that first move and go and seek his blessings. When we take his blessings, then the Vrindavan Dham becomes easily revealed to us by his mercy. Krishna says that my devotees are my life and soul. And so Lord Shiva is the greatest of his devotees. So if Lord Shiva tells Krishna that this devotee, please take care of him, please reveal this dham to him, how can Krishna refuse? There is no way, right? And so that is our mood. That should be our mood, that when we go to Vrindavan, we want to have darshan of Radha and Krishna. We want this dham to be revealed to us. And so why not start by taking the blessings of the greatest of Vaishnavas, and then our yatra in Vrindavan is perfect. Everything gets revealed to us. All those other distractions, they fall away. We don't even notice them. We don't even get disturbed by them because Lord Shiva is taking care of it, just as he did for Sri Sanatana Goswami. This is the position of Lord Shiva. He is the Kshetrapal of every dham. Whether you go to Jagannath Puri, you have Chakreshwar Mahadev there. Whether you go to Mayapur, everywhere Shiva is there. Whether you go to South India also, everywhere Shiva is there. Everywhere. So he's very intrinsic to Vaishnavism. He's very intrinsic to our bhakti. When we take shelter of Shiva, then we are actually free from all the distractions that are around us in our bhakti. And so this Shadashiva, which is in the spiritual world, is also having its own Shiva Tattva. Just like you have Vishnu Tattva, you have Shiva Tattva too. Okay? And this Shiva Tattva, it is said, it possesses 83% of the qualities of Krishna. 83%. of all the qualities of Krishna. So Sadashiva having 55 qualities, Krishna having 64 qualities. So this Sadashiva has 83% of the qualities of Krishna, right? And from him come the 11 Rudras. The names of these 11 Rudras is given in the Srimad Bhagavatam. There's a very wonderful description. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, it says the 11 Rudras are Ajay Kapat, Ahivratna, Virupaksha, Raivata, Hara, Gaurupa, Devashreshta, Trayambaka, Savitra, Jayanti, Pinaki, and Aparajita. All of these 11 Rudras, their names of their wives is also given. Their functions is also given. It's all given in the Srimad Bhagavatam. So it's all there. So these 11 Rudras are the expansions of Lord Shiva himself. And they have their own functions within this material world. And it is these expansions that are actually involved in the destruction of this cosmic manifestation when it is due. Okay? It is these Rudras, not Sadashiva. He never gets involved in that. It is in the Puranas, it is said that Shiva appears in various different ways in this material world. Sometimes he appears from the head of Brahma. It is said that the 4 Kumaras were first created by Brahma, and Brahma gave them the task of procreation. But they came in contact with Narada Muni, and Narada Muni totally changed their objective, and they refused to get involved in samsara, in creation. And so it is said Brahma was very upset. He was very upset. And in that mode of passion and ignorance, from his forehead was manifested Shiva. This Shiva, who is the expansion of Sadashiva, he manifested from the forehead of Brahma. So now please remember that in different kalpas, in different periods, right, of Brahma, this Shiva appears in different ways. The one that we are describing here is what's described in the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is for our kalpa, for our Kali Yuga. This Srimad Bhagavatam is for our kalpa and for our. Please remember that the Srimad Bhagavatam is different in different universes and different in different kalpas. Depending on the leelas of the Lord and depending on the time, place, and circumstances of each kalpa, the Bhagavatam is different. Because we know that even the main Swambhu Manu, Indra, the 7 sages, the Shaptarishis that come, they're also different in every kalpa. And because they're different, obviously the Bhagavatam has to be specific to that kalpa. And so Bhagavatam is also different. Right? And so in our kalpa, in our Srimad Bhagavatam, the manifestation of Shiva is from the forehead of Brahma when he's in a mode of passion and anger, when he's very angry. Right? And so Shiva appears from the forehead of Brahma. But in other situations, in other places, he appears through the head of Vishnu sometimes. It is described in the Puranas that Shiva appears sometimes from the forehead of Lord Vishnu himself. So it's different, always different the way how he appears. And in the Vayu Puran, there's a description of Sadashiva in the Vaikuntha planet. It describes how Sadashiva is a direct expansion of Lord Krishna's form for pastimes. So in order to facilitate Krishna's pastimes, Lord Shiva is a direct expansion of Lord Krishna. This is described in the Puranas. And it is said that Lord Sadashiva is an expansion from the Sadashiva in the Vaikuntha planets. That means our Sadashiva, our Shiva, I should say, is an expansion from that Shiva in the Vaikuntha planets. And the Mahamaya is an expansion of Lakshmi Devi. It is said she's an expansion of Lakshmi Devi. And she is the origin or birthplace of the material energy. That means she is the origin of the material energy. That means she is a manifestation of the material energy of Lord Krishna himself. Mahamaya is a manifestation of that energy. Because in Brahma Samhita, Brahma describes that when he saw the whole spiritual world, he also saw all the energies of the Lord. It is clearly described that Brahma actually saw all the energies of the Lord together with the Lord uh, when uh, the manifestation had not yet started. So he saw all the energies of the Lord present with the Lord. And so one of these energies is Mahamaya. And this Mahamaya, it takes the form of, that material energy takes the form of Mahamaya. So Mahamaya or material energy can be treated as synchronous. That means they're same, similar, right? So she is the source of this material energy. And she is the consort of Lord Shiva. Okay, she's the consort of Lord Shiva. So this Lord Shiva is also very important in our Gaura Lila. With Mahaprabhu, he has a very important place. And we're going to describe how he plays this wonderful role with Mahaprabhu. It's very important that we understand this because Sri Kavi Karnapuna describes this in Gaura Ganodesha very beautifully. And so if we understand this, we can understand how he is important in our own sampradaya, how he is so important to Mahaprabhu. It is said that when Lord Shiva was seeing the people in this material world, Sadashiva was seeing the people in this material world, how much they were suffering and how Mahamaya was destroying them. They were so involved in Maya that she was totally destroying them. They were losing their human forms. They were going into lower species of life. And he's very compassionate and he was feeling very uncomfortable about it. He wanted to do something about it. So it is said he went to the shores of the causal ocean where Mahavishnu was lying on Shesha and he was in Nidra Yoga. So Sadashiva, he sat down there and he started performing austerities. He performed severe austerities and was meditating upon the Lord. It said like he was there for about 700 years. 700 years he performed this austerity. And seeing this, Lord Vishnu was kind of disturbed that so much austerity being performed by Shiva was not different from him. And so he came before Lord Shiva. He approached Lord Shiva, right? So he asked Lord Shiva that why are you doing this, right? You don't need to do this because you and me are one. There's no difference. We differ only in body, but you and me are one. So then Shiva says that I need you to empower me so that I can save mankind. I want to know how I can do that. I want to save mankind who is suffering so much. And Mahavishnu, seeing this compassion of Lord Shiva, he was overwhelmed with love for Lord Shiva and he immediately embraced him. And when he embraced Lord Shiva, this Lord Shiva and Vishnu combined took on a golden form. And this golden form started crying out, Krishna, Krishna. This golden form started crying out, Krishna, Krishna. Now, do you know what that golden form is? That manifested in Caitanya Leela as Advaita Acharya. Advaita Acharya is the combination of Lord Vishnu and Lord Shiva. It was Shiva's mercy wanting to save the Jivatmas, which was the mode of Advaita Acharya when he was crying out to Krishna to come and save the living entities in this material world. It was that mood of Lord Shiva wanting to save the suffering living beings in this material world that was invested in Advaita Acharya. That golden form, which was the combination of Lord Vishnu and Lord Shiva, Vishnu in the mood of Lord Shiva, was Advaita Acharya. And it is said, Kuvera Pandit, Kuvera, who is the treasurer of the uh, heavenly worlds, he performed a lot of austerities for the pleasure of Lord Shiva. He performed a lot of austerities. He was a disciple, he was a devotee of Lord Shiva. And so when Lord Shiva saw these wonderful austerities of Kuvera, he came to him and he said, Kuvera, tell me what is it that you want. I'm very pleased with you. I'll give you any benedictions that you want. And Kuvera said, I want you as my son. I want you as my son. And it is that Kuvera who was Kuvera Pandit, who was the father of Advaita Acharya. So Lord Shiva fulfilled the desire of Kuvera, as well as he came as Advaita Acharya in order to save all of us. In order to save all of us, he took the form of Advaita Acharya. That is the compassion of Lord Shiva. And so integral to our sampradaya, our whole bhakti is based on Mahaprabhu's movement. And Mahaprabhu's movement is based on Advaita Acharya calling out to Krishna to appear as Mahaprabhu. So if you trace it back, the source of the compassion is Shiva. Because he felt so much suffering for the living entities that he performed such austerities so that Vishnu could empower him. And then by the mercy of Vishnu and Shiva, Advaita Acharya appeared, and through his mercy, Mahaprabhu came to save all of us. That is the gratitude we owe to Shiva. That is such an important aspect of our bhakti, because we read Caitanya Charitamrita, we read Advaita Acharya's contribution to our movement. And we can see what an integral part of our movement Advaita Acharya was. And so, it's this Advaita Acharya who actually brought Mahaprabhu here, whose cries, Krishna, Krishna, brought Mahaprabhu here. Now, in the Bhagavatam, in Canto 4, Chapter 6, Brahma actually gives an insight into Lord Shiva. He validates the position of Lord Shiva. If you go back to Srimad Bhagavatam and read Canto 4, Chapter 6, he actually validates Lord Shiva. So I will just read to you what he says. It's a very important thing that he says. He says, my dear Lord Shiva, I know that you are the controller of the entire material manifestation. So Lord Shiva is Bhagavan. He is the Bhagavan of this material manifestation. I have no doubt about it. He is not a demigod. When we say demigod, if you look at Brahma, if you look at Indra, these are positions that a material entity, a living entity can occupy by performing certain austerities as described in the Vedas. And if there's a living entity that is not available, who's not qualified to take that position, then an expansion of the Lord takes those positions. But those are positions. But Lord Shiva is not a position. He is not just a demigod. He accepts the role of a demigod. Sadashiva expands as a demigod to serve Krishna in the mode of ignorance, because Lord Krishna needs someone to represent the mode of ignorance, someone who can get the people who are in the mode of ignorance out of their state and into some form of bhakti. That is Lord Shiva. It's a service to the Lord. He does this service, he takes on this tamoguna. He's not affected, he's not under tamoguna. He takes on the role of tamoguna to help these ignorant people, these fallen people, and bring them out of it to some form of bhakti, so that from there they can move upwards rather than falling down. And so this is a service that Lord Shiva takes on for the pleasure of Lord Krishna. So he is the Bhagwan of the entire material manifestation, and he's an expansion of Bhagwan in the spiritual world. And then Brahma goes on to say, I know that you are the controller of the entire material manifestation, the combination father and mother of the cosmic manifestation, and the supreme Brahman beyond the cosmic manifestation as well. The supreme Brahman beyond the material cosmic manifestation. That supreme Brahman is the Sadashiv form. So Brahma is telling him that I know that Brahman form of you, that Sadashiv form of you in the beyond this cosmic manifestation. And I know that in this cosmic manifestation, you are Bhagavan. So Brahma is very nicely explaining Shiva's position to us. Very nicely, so that there is no doubts left. So Shiva is Param Brahma Nirantaram, spirit beyond the temporal world. That means beyond this temporal world, he is spirit. He is not just you and me. He is not just another living entity or another demigod. He assumes the position of a demigod for the service of the Lord, but is not like the other demigods. So we must be very careful when we refer to Lord Shiva. We must be very careful to understand his position so that we do not commit an offense, because Vaishnava Prad, even Krishna doesn't forgive. He forgive everything else, but not Vaishnava Prad. Narottam Das says in his song, he says that if you commit an offense against Bhagavan, you do Harinam and Krishna will forgive you. But if you commit an offense against a Vaishnava, there is no solution. You have to go to the solution to the Vaishnava and beg at his lotus feet for forgiveness. That is the only way out. Otherwise, there is no other way. There is no other way. There is no other way. And so that is the reason why we must be very careful. And this is the greatest of all Vaishnavas. There's no one higher than Lord Shiva as a Vaishnava. So we must understand his position. That is very, very important, right? And then Srila Rupa Goswami writes in Laghu Bhagavatamrita, he says, Sadashivakya Tanmurtis Tamo Guna Varjita. Unlike the ordinary Shiva, Sadashiva is beyond Tamoguna. This is Rupa Goswami who says that Sadashiva is not Tamoguna, right? He is beyond Tamoguna. It is Lord Shiva in this material world because he takes on that role as a service to the Lord. And then while Baladev Vidyabhushana, what is he saying? Shiva Loke Vaikuntha Dhamni. Shiva Lok is in Vaikuntha Dham. Don't mistake it. It is part of the Vaikuntha Dham. Baladev Vidyabhushan is the great Vaishnava who actually guarded, who actually saved, guarded the worship of Radha Govinda ji in Jaipur, because other sampradayas wanted to take over. They wanted to throw our sampradaya out because they said we don't have any kind of proper scripture. And Baladev Vidyabhushana is the one who established us as the foremost sampradaya qualified to worship and I should say worship Sri Radha Govinda. That Baladev Vidyabhushana is telling us that Lord Shiva's Dham is in the spiritual world. There should be no doubt about it. Now, when Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was in the South India tour, and let me see what time is there at 48. Can I go on for another 12 minutes, Prabhuji?
Of course, Prabhu. Go ahead.
So when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was actually traveling in South India, it is actually recorded in Chaitanya Charitamrita. When Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was actually traveling in South India, he visited innumerable temples of Lord Shiva. With great devotion and love, he visited innumerable temples of Lord Shiva. And it's also described that there's a mountain called Rishabh Hill, right? And it is said Chaitanya Mahaprabhu secretly went to that place, and there he spent at least, they say 4 to 5 days, but in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, it just says many days he spent with Lord Shiva and Mother Parvati. They were there with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu secretly. No one knew about it. And Mother Parvati used to cook for Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He used to eat the food that was cooked by Mother Parvati. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And then it is said in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, there was this one devotee, Damodara Pandit. He asked Murari Gupta, why did Lord Chaitanya accept the Prasada of Lord Shiva? Why did Lord Chaitanya accept the Prasada of Lord Shiva? Then he went on to say, according to the curse of Bhrigu Muni had given a curse that Shiva Prasadam is not acceptable. If you'll remember, Lord Shiva in the assembly of Daksha, he was very badly disrespected and cursed by Daksha. And even Bhrigu was involved in that. And there was a lot of counter cursing also. But Lord Shiva is so wonderful that he felt compassion for the priests and the brahmanas there, because these curses and all were going to hurt them. And so he is so tolerant that he did not say a word. He just left that assembly. And then, as we know later on, what happened was that Daksha had another ceremony, another sacrifice that he was performing, where he invited everyone except Lord Shiva and his wife Sati. Now Sati wanted to go so desperately to attend this sacrifice, because she saw all her sisters and all her relatives, they were all going there. And she felt that it is my father, my house, I should also go there. And so she was telling Lord Shiva that we don't need an invitation. This is our house, we should go. But Lord Shiva said, no, it is not right. And why did Lord Shiva say that? Was it his ego that was stopping him? No, it was his compassion. Because he knew that if he goes there, it will only incite Daksha to commit more offenses. Not that Shiva cared. He didn't care about those curses and the disrespect. Shiva is above all this. But he did not want to create a situation where Daksha would suffer because of the offenses that he would commit. And so he was explaining to Sati that you should not go. But Sati went in spite of her husband telling her not to go. And we saw she had to pay a heavy price for it. When a chaste wife does not listen to her husband, then there is a heavy price to pay for it, which was the example over here. And so Sati, when she went there, she was totally disrespected. Her father didn't even look at her, didn't even talk to her. And she was so ashamed being his daughter that she gave up her body there. She gave up her body for two reasons. One, because of this treatment of Daksha. Secondly, she understood that she had made a mistake by not listening to Lord Shiva. How can she go back? What face would she go back to Lord Shiva? So she gave up her body there. And through this one episode, there is so much that Shiva teaches us. He teaches us tolerance, how someone may insult you, but don't be bothered by it. He teaches us compassion, how he was willing to forgive even Daksha's greatest abuses. As we know, when Sati gave up her body, Lord Shiva from his body created Virabhadra, the greatest of demons, who went and destroyed the entire sacrificial arena, beheaded Daksha, and punished all the sages. So in anger, why did Shiva do that? Was he really angry that he did this? Was he showing us anger? No. What he was doing was actually compassion to those who he was punishing, because later he tells Brahma that I am not affected by these people, but it was my compassion. If I do not punish them, then they will continue to commit those offenses against other Vaishnavas, not me. I don't care about it, but they would continue to commit these offenses against others. It was his compassion. And then, of course, he restored Daksha. He gave his life back. Only he had to have a goat's head because his original head was destroyed. And so the other lesson that we get from this episode is that if we are envious of Shiva, if we are envious of Vaishnavas and disrespect them, we are goat heads. We will get goat heads. That's the Daksha mentality. You know what's a goat head? A goat head is where a goat is just with its head down, involved in its own sense gratification and doesn't care about what is going on around. And finally, it is slaughtered, loses its life and goes on to another species of life. That is the Daksha mentality. And that Daksha mentality is the goat head mentality. That's why it's so significant that he received a goat head, the goat that was to be sacrificed, his head was given to Daksha. So many lessons from this one Daksha episode we get from Lord Shiva. So much to learn from it. And so coming back to what I was talking about, so this Damodara Pandit asked Murari Gupta that why did Chaitanya Mahaprabhu accept this prasadam when Bhrigu had cursed in this session, in this arena, that anyone who ate Shiva's prasadam would lose his bhakti, right? And so Murari Gupta starts explaining, right? Because he's saying why Mahaprabhu of all had to accept prasadam from Lord Shiva, right? And so Murari Gupta says, how can I know the mind of the Lord? But I will answer you based on what little I know, right? So he says, if someone differentiates between Krishna and Shiva when he worships Lord Shiva and therefore refuses to accept Shiva's prasad, he commits an offense and suffers the curse of Bhrigumani. It's the reverse, that if you worship Lord Shiva and don't take his prasad, then that curse comes on you. And then he doesn't stop there. He says, Krishna consciousness, because his consciousness is contaminated by not taking that Shiva prasad, he doesn't understand the glories of Lord Shiva. But one who accepts both Krishna and Shiva as being the same and faithfully accepts Shiva's prasad, he becomes beloved to both Krishna and Shiva. He becomes beloved to both Krishna and Shiva. And this certainly pleases Krishna. One must remember that Shiva is a great Vaishnava. Like sometimes we are in a position where we can't offer bhoga to Krishna. What do? We offer bhoga to Srila Prabhupada. He's our Param Guru and he in turn offers it to Krishna and then it becomes prasad. In the same way, when we offer prasad or bhoga to Lord Shiva, right? Lord Shiva knows his position and it becomes Krishna prasad because there's no difference between Krishna and Shiva. And so that is why Murari Gupta is saying is that one must not see any difference. One must not see any difference because Shiva's goal is to bring you to Krishna's service, right? So Gauranga Mahaprabhu came to teach the proper path of perfection for people in general. And so this is also a lesson that he gives us when he accepts with Shiva Prasad with love and devotion, when he eats Prasad prepared by Mother Parvati. He's actually teaching us. He's teaching us the path of perfection, how we have to respect Vaishnavas, of which Shiva is the greatest of Vaishnavas. So, I personally have an experience that I want to share with you. I have actually seen some devotees, I'm not taking any names and I'm not committing any offense, but as an example, I'm not giving any names, that a devotee actually refused to take Narayana Prasad, thinking Narayana and Krishna are different. That is lack of knowledge. It's more of ignorance. And so I personally saw what destruction came upon the devotee. Believe it or not, I have personally seen with my eyes what destruction came, because one never refuses Narayana Prasad. Sriman Narayana Prasad is the highest of all prasadams. One must be very careful. Thinking that we are devotees of Krishna, we put blinkers on and we don't want to understand or know anyone else. That is mode of ignorance. The whole Srimad Bhagavatam starts with all the incarnations and different forms of Krishna. It doesn't start with Krishna. Until and unless we understand all of that, we cannot relish Canto 10. We cannot relish Krishna Lila. Why is that so? Because in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna said, Janma karma chame devyam evam yoveti tatvata. If you want to understand my tatvata, you have to understand my Janma karma. My Janma karma doesn't mean my in Krishna form only, for all my different forms that I appear in. That is the reason why Srimad Bhagavatam starts from Canto 1, Chapter 1. You have to read all through the various different avatars of Krishna, different forms of Krishna, his pastime. Then when you come to Canto 10, then you can relish Krishna Lila. But if you put your blinkers on and go straight to Canto 10, what does Srila Prabhupada say? He says that is totally a waste of time because you'll get nothing out of it. And so it's very important for us to understand the position of all these great Mahajans, the great souls, of which Lord Shiva is one of the greatest of Mahajans. He can make our bhakti so simple. He can make our bhakti so powerful. He can make our bhakti so fruitful. Fruitful not in the material way, but in the spiritual way, bringing us to the lotus feet of Krishna. And so there is so much more that I can talk about Shiva, how Lord Ramchandra worships Lord Shiva. When he wants to build a bridge, he first establishes an emblem of Shiva. And then he starts the task of putting together the bridge. When the Samudra Manthan happens, the first thing that comes out is an ocean of poison. And that poisonous ocean keeps growing. And the demigods are so scared, they come to Vishnu and say, what can we do? And Lord Vishnu says, go to Lord Shankara, go to Lord Shiva. Now, Lord Vishnu can easily take care of it. He is the Supreme Lord. But he sends them to Lord Shiva. And Lord Shiva, out of his compassion, he condenses this entire ocean into his fist and he drinks it and holds it in his throat. That's how he gets the name Neelakanta or Kalakanta, depending on the color. Right? That's his compassion. So when we go to Lord Shiva, he actually takes all the desires that we have, this ocean of desires that we have, and he condenses it and he drinks it, holding it in his neck, and then we are purified. Believe it or not, when we go to Lord Shiva to ask for his blessing so we can serve the divine couple in all purity, that's how Lord Shiva takes away all our mundane desires, that ocean of desire which is poison. He compacts it, drinks it, and finish. He purifies us so that we can perform service, pure devotional service unto the lotus feet of Lord Krishna. This is the position of Lord Shri Krishna. And in conclusion, a devotee of Krishna should never degrade or defame any kind of Shiva Tattva, because even Krishna will not forgive them for this serious offense. Krishna's expansions should also be honored as we are humble devotees of Krishna. And so we have established that Sadashiva is the expansion of Krishna. And so we must be very careful not to commit offense. As soon as we see a Shiva Linga or we see a Shiva temple, we should offer full dandavats. Full dandavats too, because he's not different. He's an expansion of Krishna himself. If we want to please Krishna, then we first have to please the Vaishnavas. And Vaishnava, I can never say that, my tongue always slips. The greatest of all Vaishnavas is Shiva himself. Vaishnavanam Yatha Shambhu. So he's the greatest of Vaishnavas. We should fall down flat and offer full dandavats and seek his blessings. And then with the blessings of Lord Shiva, we can achieve pure devotional service. We can achieve Krishna Prema. I have no doubt about it. So thank you very much, all of you, for giving me this opportunity to speak a few words. I humbly beg for forgiveness if I've said something that may have offended you or that may have been incorrect. After all, I'm a Jiva and Jivas are prone to make mistakes. I was just depending on Lord Shiva to put some words into my mouth. So please forgive me. And I offer my most humble obeisances to the lotus feet of all you Vaishnavas. And I sincerely pray to Lord Shiva and to Krishna that he may always shelter and protect you and keep your sadhana very strong. Hare Krishna, Dandavats Pranam.
Hare Krishna. Thank you for such an amazing class, Prabhu. You've really touched on some amazing points on Lord Shiva that I think a lot of us have either not known or who haven't heard for a long time. So, Prabhu, do you have a few minutes for questions and answers?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay. Okay, dear devotees, if you're able to unmute yourself, you can raise your hands on Zoom and we'll give you an opportunity to ask your question if you would like to ask Prabhu a question. So Prabhu will just give everyone a few moments, but until they do, I have a question for you. You mentioned how we should respect Lord Shiva in the same way we respect Lord Krishna. And so many times we have the opportunity to pray to Lord Shiva. As practitioners of Bhakti Yoga, devotees of Lord Krishna, how should we approach Lord Shiva and what should we pray to him to?
Well, I'll give you an example. When Lord Shiva was, when Maharaj Chitraketu was cursed by Parvati Mata, right? Lord Shiva, he actually spoke to Parvati Mata and he told her, indirectly, not directly, he kind of chastised her. Indirectly, he told her that the Vaishnavas of those who were devotees of Lord Vishnu, they are not affected by these curses and all. You can see that Chitraketu Maharaj, he didn't even say a word. He didn't even object to this curse that was put on Maharaj Chitraketu. This is the glory of the devotees of Lord Vishnu. And in the purport, we understand that Shiva actually put Maharaj Chitraketu on the same level as himself. Same level as himself, because we know Maharaj Chitraketu also had darshan of Sankarshana because of his austerities and all that. So he was not an ordinary soul. But the lesson that came to us was that Lord Shiva is so merciful to Vaishnavas that he puts them at his own level, right? And so our mood when we worship Lord Shiva is a mood of that same, I should say, begging mood that please help us to achieve the status of a Vaishnava. Because a Vaishnava is a very high thing, right? It is a very high thing and we shouldn't take it cheaply. A Vaishnava is a very elevated soul. And so Lord Shiva is capable of giving us that empowerment by which we can become true Vaishnavas. And so our mood when we pray to Shiva is a mood of begging that please help us to become Vaishnavas, that means become devotees of Lord Krishna, so that we may be able to serve Krishna with all purity and we may be able to serve Krishna with a complete mood of surrender, And Shiva is capable of that because he is empowered. He's the greatest of Vaishnavas. So our mode of worship should be along those lines. Is as we beg our gurus, we beg Krishna and Radharani for service. In the same mode, we should beg Shiva to remove all anarthas so that we may be able to reach the stage of Vaishnav seva and so seva to this divine couple. That should be our mood when we are worshipping Lord Shiva. Does that answer your question, Prabhu?
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Prabhu. Prabhu, we have one question from His Grace Krishna Sharanam, Prabhu. Prabhu, you can unmute yourself and you can ask your question. Oh, sorry, Prabhu, you're on mute. One more time.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavats
Krishna
Pranam.
Prabhu, Dandavats Pranam.
so beautifully narrated the glories of Shiva in so many details. Thank you so much for your information. So, Prabhu, in all the Shiva temples, we never see a personal form of Shiva, but we only see Shiva Linga. So, is there any pastime or any story why we see Shiva Linga and not the Shiva form?
There is a story, but that will take a long time. As you know, from Shiva came so many lingas, and it went and fell in all different places in India, and those became dhams, So there are lingas in many different places where there is dhams. So they are not different from Shiva. They are representative of Shiva. So we may say that it's impersonal. It really is. It goes beyond that, because when we go to the temple and we perform perform puja to the Archa Vigraha form of the Lord, it's sanctioned by the scriptures. It is a sanctioned form of Lord Krishna that we worship. So this linga is also a sanctioned form of worship by Lord Shiva himself. So when we actually worship that linga, we're actually worshipping Lord Shiva. He comes and accepts our worship through that linga. Now, there are temples which have Lord Shiva's personal form too, but most of them, yes, you're right, they have the linga there. And that is a form that Shiva accepts as his Archa Vigraha, and he accepts worship through that. So in a way, it's not impersonal, because impersonal means something in the air, something in the vacuum, right? It is still an Archa Vigraha. It's the Vigraha through which Lord Shiva is accepting worship, So it's sanctified by Lord Shiva, I can say. So it is not impersonal. Does that answer your question, Prabhuji?
So, Prabhu, you mean there is no pastime or anything why that form is formed, Shivlinga form, how it came out?
I am not an expert on Shiva Tattva. I should say what I could learn from our Goswamis and Acharyas. I spoke about that. So I know that there is a story, but I'm not fully conversant in it. So I don't want to get into it and commit mistakes. But I can share with you a link later on where it describes how it comes around, if that is okay with you, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhu. Very nice.
Please forgive me, Prabhuji.
Very well. Thank you so much, Prabhu. Dear devotees, if there's anyone else who would like to ask a question, you can raise your hands now. Right. Okay, Prabhu. Oh, we have Madhukar who's wanting to ask a question. Prabhu, you can go ahead and ask your question. You can unmute yourself.
Hare Krishna, Shyam Prabhuji. Thank you for a wonderful class. And now we understand about Sada Shiva, that spiritual Shiva, and in material Rayam. I read one statement, Prabhuji, in somewhere in Prabhupada books. I was trying to recollect it, but I don't know how do I understand. He was comparing Shiva and Krishna or Vishnu. It says Vishnu is like milk and Shiva is like yogurt. So transformed milk. So can you please elaborate on that if you have a couple of minutes?
Yeah. When you actually convert milk to yogurt, right, you mix something in it, right? It doesn't become yogurt by itself. You can put milk in the refrigerator for years and it won't become yogurt, right? It has to have a certain ingredient in it, which
some bitterness.
Huh?
Yeah. Some
Sorry?
bitter.
Yes, something sour to make it curd, right? So in order for Krishna to become Shiva, he has to take on the tamoguna. He has to take on a certain quality which Shiva will represent in the material cosmic manifestation, right? So that transformation, because Krishna is above all the modes, right? And Shiva, out of his compassion, takes on, as a service to Krishna, he takes on the tamoguna so that he may serve Krishna in that form. Like Brahma is in the mode of passion, he's Rajoguna, right? And Shiva is in the mode of Tamoguna, and Mahavishnu is of course in the mode of goodness, Rajoguna, right? So that transformation of from Krishna to Shiva, right? Which is why we say Shiva is similar to Krishna, is because it's a transformation from Krishna to Shiva. Now, Krishna is Om Purnam, right? He's always Purna, Purnamada, Purnamada. He's always Purna. So this Shiva is also an expansion of Krishna, is a transformation of Krishna, but with that slight change, with that slight transformation, like going from milk to yogurt. That is what Prabhupada is explaining. So going from milk to yogurt, when you put a foreign element, in the same way, that one foreign element is what differentiates Krishna from Shiva.
Okay, Prabhuji. So both are same, and also some difference is there. That's all.
Yes, so that is why we said Shiva has got 55 qualities, whereas Krishna has 64 qualities. So he has all 55 qualities which Krishna has. So it's very similar, but there are some things which he doesn't have, which Krishna has.
Okay, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Right?
Yeah.
Thank you so much for your wonderful answer, Prabhu. We have one more question from Ramya Rajendran. Prabhu, you may go ahead and ask your question.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Dandavat Pranam. I have one question, Prabhu. Like where we say, like each yuga, like for each universe, the Krishna and the Shiva appears in different way, right? So, Prabhu, that's what you said, right?
That
he appears.
That is the material Shiva.
Yeah, yes, Prabhu. So, but this does it changes like Krishna? Shiva always represents the mode of Tamoguna, right? No, Prabhu, like he
Always,
represents.
yes.
So always that doesn't change.
That
As
doesn't
per
change.
only the appearance, the way of appearance is changed.
That doesn't change. He is always representing Tamoguna.
Okay, Prabhu. So on the same way, for all the universes, he will be treated like
Yes.
he's the same, like the same position, like he will be having the same 55 qualities as the Shiva.
Yes. Because he is not a demigod. He is an expansion of Sadashiva. He's not a demigod. We must be careful because he's not a position like the others are, right? So he's the same. That Shiva is the same in all universes, and he has all 55 qualities, and he is the same in every universe.
Okay.
Because he's an expansion of Sadashiva. He's not Sadashiva himself.
Okay, that's a proper. Thank you so much.
Also keep in mind that Sadashiva does not have anything to do with Tamoguna. Sadashiva expands as Shiva in the material world and takes on the Tamoguna in order to serve Krishna.
Yeah, yes, Prabhu. But I was just curious, like whether the the Guna avatar changes, like from does it changes like always, or he always represents the?
Yeah, he always represents the Tamoguna.
Okay, Prabhu. Thank you so much, Prabhu.
Sure.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. I don't think we have any more questions. We are so grateful for you to always take out your time and give us your association and speak so wonderfully on every topic that we give you. We're always grateful, and thank you so much once again, Prabhu.
I'm very grateful to the organizers of this program. I feel that this is amazing service that you are doing for all the devotees, because through this service you are providing such invaluable association first of all, and then some sharing of knowledge too. So it's truly a very wonderful program, and I'm humbled that you can give me a chance to participate in this. My most humble obeisances and a heart full of gratitude. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Prabhu. It is our great fortune that we're able to have you on. So we look forward to having you on again in the future programs, and we're really grateful to hear from you once again. Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you so much. Thank you, dear devotees. Thank you, dear devotees, for joining us. We just have a few announcements, and so we will go ahead with that. Coming this Sunday, we have our virtual Sunday program with a continuation of our Krishna and Balaram series. We have part 8, The Glories of Lord Krishna, with our speaker, His Grace Amarendra Prabhu. That will be on August 29th at 4:30 p.m. And this is in our lead up to Shri Krishna Janmashtami. We will not be having a midweek program in the coming week due to there being 2 major festivals, but it will return the week after. So stay tuned to our social media pages for information on both of these programs as they draw closer. We also have our weekly kirtans happening this Sunday once again at 6 p.m. You can catch them live on our 2 Facebook pages, Kirtan Atlanta and ISKCON Atlanta, or you can join us in person at our temple. And coming up this Monday, we have the most auspicious appearance day of Lord Shri Krishna Janmashtami. We have an whole day program beginning with Mangal Arti at 4:30 a.m. We have tons of kirtan, classes, Abhishek that is going on, and we'll have tons of more information coming out within the next few minutes and also in the coming days. So stay tuned to our social media pages for more information on that. And also the day after Janmashtami, we have Shri Vyasa Puja, the appearance day of our founder Acharya, His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. We will confirm dates and schedules for that. And so just stay tuned to our social media as well, where you can receive updates about that. To stay up to date with everything we are putting out there and everything we are bringing to you, you can follow our Linktree page right here, where you'll have links to everything, all of our social media accounts, including our website. We have Instagram, we have YouTube, WhatsApp groups that have daily updates along with DT Darshan. We have our Facebook pages and, as I mentioned, our websites. So just follow the Linktree page as you see on screen right now, and you'll be able to access all of these pages with one click. And finally, we'll end off with a request for prayers. We have Her Grace Govardhan Leela Mataji, a long-standing member of our community here who has served in many capacities. She is facing some health issues. Her Grace Uttama Radhika Mataji, who's also gone through a procedure recently and is also facing some health issues as well. And also we'd like to request prayers for the doctors who have helped fight COVID-19 and who are continuing to help us fight COVID-19, and anyone who we have forgotten to mention who is in need of prayers. So let us together chant the Mahamantra in a prayerful mood for the benefit of those mentioned together. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Thank you, dear devotees. And once again, we appreciate you for coming out on a weekly basis and supporting our programs and attending so nicely. And a very special thank you to His Grace Shyam Bihari Prabhu, our speaker for today, for once again enlightening us so wonderfully. Please do join us for our upcoming festivals, which are going to be mainly virtual, or you can also attend in person. And stay tuned to our social media pages for more information as our programs and festivals come up. Hare Krishna. Thank you for joining us once again.